The scorching sun beats down mercilessly on the limestone plaza of Tikal, one of the greatest Maya cities in the heart of the Payton rainforest. It's 850 CE, and the once mighty civilization that has thrived for over 2 millennia is teetering on the edge of an abyss that even their most gifted astronomers couldn't predict. What do you think could bring down one of the most sophisticated civilizations of the ancient world? Share your theories in the comments below, because the truth is more complex than any single explanation. Itzamnaj Balam II. The divine ruler of Yaxmul stands atop Temple 4, the tallest structure his people have ever built. At 213 feet, it pierces the jungle canopy like a stone finger reaching toward the gods. His jade-adorned headdress catches the morning light as he surveys his domain. The feathered serpent Kukulkan adorns his ceremonial breastplate, but today the weight feels heavier than usual. Below him, the great plaza that once held 100,000 people during the most sacred ceremonies now shows patches of grass growing between the stones. The sounds that should fill the air, the chanting of priests, the bustle of merchants, the laughter of children, have grown unnaturally quiet. The smell of copal incense still drifts from the sacred fires, mixing with the humid air thick with the scent of ceiba trees and damp earth. But there's something else in the air now. Fear, uncertainty, the kind of tension that precedes the collapse of worlds. Itzamnaj's obsidian blade reflects his weathered face as he performs the morning bloodletting ritual. 3 drops fall onto the bark paper, but the gods seem distant today. The vision that comes to him in the sacred smoke shows not prosperity, but empty cities overgrown with vines. "My lord," calls Akbal, his chief astronomer, climbing the steep temple steps with labored breath. His voice carries the weight of terrible knowledge. The calculations are complete. The Venus cycle aligns with our fears. The Maya have tracked celestial movements with precision that won't be matched in Europe for centuries, but now their astronomical mastery reveals only doom. The rains have failed for the 4th consecutive season. The cenotes run low. Our tribute cities to the north have sent word. Chichen Itza grows stronger while we weaken. Itzamnaj closes his eyes, feeling the limestone beneath his feet, the same stone his ancestors carved into monuments that were meant to last forever. The irony isn't lost on him. In the workshops below, scribes still carve glyphs into stelae, recording dates that stretch thousands of years into the future. But who will be alive to read them? The Maya calendar extends to 4772 CE. Yet here in 850 CE, their world is unraveling thread by thread. The city's population has already dropped by half in just 2 generations. What was once a bustling metropolis of 100,000 souls now struggles to maintain 50,000. The terraced fields that once fed multitudes lie abandoned, their sophisticated irrigation systems clogged with sediment and debris. Climate data that modern scientists won't discover for over 1,000 years tells the story written in tree rings and lake sediments. The worst drought in 2 millennia has gripped the Maya heartland from his divine perch. Itzamnaj can see the evidence of their civilization's slow-motion collapse. The ball court, where ritual games once decided the fate of captives and cosmic balance, hosts fewer and fewer contests. The market stalls that once displayed goods from across Mesoamerica, obsidian from the Mexican highlands, jade from the Motagua Valley, cacao from the Pacific coast, now stand half empty. The complex trade networks that made Maya civilization possible are fracturing like drought-cracked earth. "Gather the council," he commands, his voice carrying the authority of a god-king whose divine mandate is being questioned for the first time in his reign. "We must decide. Do we fight for Tikal, or do we abandon the city of our ancestors?" The decision weighs on him like the massive temple stones. Each choice leads to unthinkable consequences. What's your theory about what happened next? Did they stay and fight against impossible odds, or did they make the heartbreaking choice to abandon everything they'd built? The archaeological evidence gives us clues, but the human drama remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Drop your thoughts in the comments as we dive deeper into this catastrophic moment. As the council assembles in the palace courtyard, the air grows thick with more than humidity. Tensions that have simmered for months now bubble to the surface. Lord Siaj Kak, commander of Tikal's remaining warriors, argues for consolidating their forces and making a stand. His battle-scarred hands gesture emphatically as he speaks. "We are the descendants of Jasa Chan Kawil, who defeated Kalak Mul. Our ancestors' blood waters this soil. We don't surrender sacred ground to drought or enemies. But Itzamnaj's wife, Lady Six Sky, speaks with the voice of pragmatism that has kept their people alive through lesser crises. Her intelligence matches her beauty, and her words cut through emotion with surgical precision. My lord husband, our granaries hold grain for perhaps 2 more months. The children already show the hollow eyes of hunger. What victory is worth watching our people become skeletons in jade ornaments? The sound of distant thunder rolls across the plaza, but no clouds darken the merciless blue sky. It's the sound of stones falling as another section of the ancient aqueduct system collapses from neglect. The engineering marvel that once brought fresh water from distant springs now crumbles as the workforce needed for maintenance abandons the city in search of survival elsewhere. Young Chak Tok Ich Ak, barely 16 but already showing the keen mind that marks him for future leadership, steps forward with news that chills every heart in the council. Father, scouts report that Karakol has fallen silent. No smoke rises from their temples. No messengers have come in 3 moons. The implication hangs in the humid air like the stench of death. Another great Maya city, perhaps extinct. The realization hits them all simultaneously. This isn't just Tikal's crisis. This isn't just a local drought or political upheaval. This is the end of their world as they know it. The Maya classical period, which has flourished for over 600 years, is collapsing across the entire region like a house of cards in a hurricane. Itzamnaj's hands tremble slightly as he unfurls a bark paper map showing the Maya world. Red marks indicate cities that have gone silent. Yellow marks show those sending desperate pleas for aid. Green marks, cities still thriving, grow fewer by the season. The pattern is unmistakable. The southern lowlands, the heartland of Maya civilization, are dying. The northern cities still prosper, observes the high priest Ikbalam, his voice hollow as a tomb. Chichen Itza, Mayapan. They adapt while we cling to traditions. His words carry the sting of accusation. Perhaps their rigid adherence to ancient ways, their unwillingness to change, has doomed them. But Siaj Kak won't accept defeat. Then we fight our way north. We take our people, our treasures, our knowledge, and we conquer new lands. His warrior's solution echoes through the courtyard, but even he knows the logistics are impossible. How do you move 50,000 people across hundreds of miles of hostile territory during the worst drought in memory? The debate continues as the sun reaches its zenith, turning the limestone plaza into a furnace that bakes the remaining inhabitants. Children who should be playing hide in whatever shade they can find. Elderly scribes, repositories of thousands of years of accumulated knowledge, fan themselves with bark paper covered in hieroglyphs that future generations may never learn to read. In the distance, the jungle that once seemed like an inexhaustible resource now stands brown and brittle. The great ceiba trees, considered sacred portals to the underworld, shed their leaves like tears. The howler monkeys that once filled the dawn with their territorial calls have moved on in search of fruit and water. Even the gods of the forest seem to be abandoning them. As afternoon shadows lengthen, a dust cloud on the horizon announces the arrival of refugees from the south. Their leader, a noble from the fallen city of Dos Pilas, brings news that stops every heart in the council. Great Lord, he gasps, falling to his knees in exhaustion. Dos Pilas is no more. The people scattered like leaves in the wind. Some went north, some went west, most simply vanished into the forest. The silence that follows is broken only by the sound of wind through empty buildings and the distant cry of a quetzal bird, perhaps one of the last. Itzamnaj feels the weight of decision crushing down on him like the capstone of a collapsed temple. Everything his ancestors built, everything his people have achieved, their mathematics that includes the concept of 0 centuries before Europe, their astronomy more accurate than anything in the old world, their art and architecture that will inspire awe for millennia, all of it hangs in the balance. What would you do in his position? Face certain death defending your ancestral home or lead your people into an uncertain exile? The choice that Maya leaders faced 200 years ago echoes through history, and the answer they chose would determine the fate of one of humanity's greatest civilizations. The critical moment arrives as Akbal rushes into the courtyard, his astronomical calculations clutched in trembling hands. My lord, the Venus tables show that this drought will continue for at least 2 more years. The rains that do come will be scattered, insufficient. His voice breaks with the weight of prophecy. Modern paleoclimatology will later confirm his predictions with stunning accuracy. The Maya astronomers knew their world was ending. Itzamnaj rises from his jaguar skin throne, his decision crystallizing like obsidian cooling from volcanic glass. The sounds around him seem muffled, distant, as if he's already becoming part of history rather than living it. The smell of copal incense mixing with dust and sweat, the feeling of smooth jade against his skin, the weight of the royal diadem, all of it will soon be memory. "We cannot ask our people to die for stones, no matter how sacred," he announces, his voice carrying across the courtyard with the finality of a temple door sealing shut. "But neither can we abandon everything our ancestors built. Some will come north with me to establish our people among our cousins in Chichen Itza. Others will remain to maintain the sacred fires and protect the tombs of our forefathers." The decision splits the council like lightning splits a ceiba tree. Warriors argue with priests, nobles shout at commoners. But underneath the chaos, a deeper current of understanding flows. This is how civilizations end, not with a single catastrophic event, but with 1,000 small choices made by people trying to save what they can from an impossible situation. Lady Six Sky steps to her husband's side, her hand finding his as they've found each other through 20 years of marriage and rule. "Those who stay will become the guardians of memory," she says, her voice steady despite the tears tracking through the dust on her cheeks. "Those who leave will become the seeds of tomorrow." The evacuation begins at dawn. 40,000 people prepare to abandon the only home their civilization has ever known. They pack what they can carry: jade ornaments, obsidian tools, precious books of bark paper containing centuries of accumulated wisdom. The lucky ones have llamas or strong backs to carry supplies. The rest must choose between water and memories. Itzamnaj performs one final ceremony atop temple before, offering his blood and prayers to gods who seem to have already turned their attention elsewhere. The copal smoke rises straight up in the still air, carrying his words toward a sky that promises no relief. Below him, the great plaza fills with people saying goodbye to their past. The procession that leaves Tikal stretches for miles through the forest. Children who have never known any world beyond these limestone pyramids turn for final glimpses of home. Elderly scholars carry scrolls containing the mathematical and astronomical knowledge that will eventually find its way to Europe and Asia, though most of them will never live to see their new destination. Those who remain, perhaps 10,000 souls, begin the heartbreaking work of closing down a civilization. They cache precious artifacts in hidden locations. They seal tomb entrances. They bank the sacred fires that have burned continuously for centuries, not extinguishing them, but reducing them to embers that might someday be rekindled. The forest begins to reclaim Tikal almost immediately. Vines creep up temple walls. Trees take root in plaza stones. The sophisticated urban ecosystem that supported 100,000 people dissolves back into jungle with shocking speed. Nature doesn't mourn the passing of civilizations. It simply grows over them. Modern archaeologists will spend centuries trying to understand exactly how and why the Maya collapse happened. Climate data reveals the severity of the drought. Population studies show the demographic pressure. Political analysis indicates the warfare and competition that weakened city-states. Economic models demonstrate how trade network failures cascaded into systemic collapse. But standing in the ruins of Tikal today, surrounded by temples that still pierce the jungle canopy, it's impossible not to feel the human dimension of this catastrophe. These weren't statistics or data points. They were people facing impossible choices with courage and dignity. They were families torn apart by circumstances beyond their control. They were leaders making decisions that would echo through centuries. The Maya didn't disappear, despite what sensationalized documentaries might claim. Their descendants still live throughout Central America, speaking dozens of Maya languages, maintaining traditions that stretch back thousands of years. But the classical Maya civilization, the world of great cities and god-kings, of astronomical observatories and mathematical innovations, that world ended in the 9th century CE, leaving behind ruins that still inspire wonder and questions that may never be fully answered. As we stand on the threshold of our own environmental challenges, the Maya collapse offers both warning and inspiration. Warning about the fragility of even the most sophisticated civilizations when faced with climate change and resource depletion. Inspiration from the human capacity to adapt, to make hard choices, to preserve what matters most even in the face of catastrophic change. What lessons do you think we can learn from the Maya collapse? How do their struggles mirror challenges we face today? Share your thoughts in the comments below. The conversation about humanity's relationship with environment and sustainability is more relevant now than ever. The story of the Maya reminds us that civilizations, like the people who build them, are both incredibly resilient and ultimately mortal. They create, they adapt, they survive, they transform, and sometimes they end. But the human spirit that built those towering temples and calculated the movements of planets with Stone Age tools, that spirit endures, carrying forward the best of what came before while facing whatever comes next. If this journey through ancient Maya civilization has captivated you as much as it has us, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to Endless Ages. We're just getting started on our exploration of humanity's most fascinating historical moments. From the rise and fall of empires to the daily lives of ordinary people who lived through extraordinary times, there are countless more stories waiting to be discovered. Ring that notification bell so you don't miss our next adventure into the depths of human history, because the past has so much more to teach us about who we are and where we're going.